So, moving on to our next keynote, scaling revenue is often seen as a numbers game. More people, more outreach, more effort. But in today's landscape, efficiency is just important as expansion. How do you grow faster without simply growing bigger? Our next keynote, Surviving by Scaling, the Revenue Playbook that tripled revenue with fewer scale sales reps, takes a closer look at how focused strategic approach can deliver strong results without relying on large teams. So please join me in welcoming our panelists and our keynote speaker, Brandon Salisbury. He's a co-founder and chief marketing officer of Markitr, who is also our bronze sponsor. Through his career, Brandon has built a track record for turning startups into high performing revenue organizations, leading teams at childcare CRM to seeds of to Series A. So let's give him a big round of applause.
Well, it's good to be with you today. As it was mentioned, what I hope to share with you today is basically my playbook. What I used to take a company that was doing okay and accelerate revenue to where we tripled revenue in less than 18 months, and we reduced our sales force, our sales staff, by 20%. In that time, we also reduced the time it took to pay back our initial investment to acquire a customer from 18 months all the way down to 6 months. And so instead of waiting 18 months to start making money off of the customers that we were acquiring, we started paying ourselves back every 6 months after we acquired a customer. And so I know sometimes that can sound too good to be true. I will tell you that if you see a slide you like up here, you don't have to take a picture of it or even write it down. My partner back here, Ryan, waving his hand there. If you see him, he'll actually email you the slides after the presentation. So feel free to stop by there. Um, I want to start by telling you guys a story about Roger Bannister. Anybody familiar with him? I wouldn't expect so. He was the first person to ever run the 4 minute mile. Okay. Now, if you're like me, I take about 12 minutes to run that mile, not quite on Roger's level. So for somebody like me, that can seem somewhat impossible. And for the longest time, that's what they believe. That's what everyone believes. They believe the 4 minute mile was just out of reach, that it couldn't be achieved until Roger did that. Less than a year later, there was another person that did that, and so on. And it wouldn't have happened had Roger not shown that breaking that 4 minute mile was possible. So as we talk today, I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you this playbook for how you can also achieve very similar results to what I was able to accomplish, giving you the playbook to do so. And as I do that, what I hope is that going through here that you'll commit and that you'll be all in on what this approach looks like. Okay. So before I can ask you to be all in, we need to define what does all in look like. Okay. So here you see a picture of a house with some Christmas lights. Obviously, this house was not all in on the Christmas decorations. This house, on the other hand, they were all in. They went all for it. Okay. Another example, this young lady here was obviously not all in on what she was about to do. But this crew here, absolutely all in. Okay. Uh, so here it was famously said that in order to capture the island, you have to burn the boats. All right. So there's no turning back. So when you're all in, you get rid of any possibility of turning around and going back. And that's what we're going to do here today. I'm going to go through, as I mentioned, and give you the playbook and actual, not just high level like theory and concepts of what might happen, but we'll get very tactical on exactly what needs to happen in order to replicate what we were able to do. As we do that, um, I'm literally handing you the playbook, and at the very end, if you can take that and walk away and do it on your own, fantastic. At the very end, I'll warn you, I'll give you just a shameless plug on how I can help you with that. But everything that you'll see here today can be done self-sufficiently. To introduce myself, my name is Brandon Salisbury, as was mentioned. I was the CMO at Tilt. That company, when I joined, was sub $3 million in annual revenue. In just a few short years, approached close to $20 million in annual revenue, which, if you're doing the math there, is a consistent 100% year over year growth. I'm a two-time founder. Ryan back here is one of my co-founders. We've established a company called Oracor, which is an organizational health platform. And we've also established a software called Markitr, which is an automated marketing platform. I sit on the Texas A&M Texarkana Marketing Advisory Board. Was a member of Who's Who, and a couple of awards there. Uh, what you see here, these are some companies who have gone all in. Okay, so this isn't something that I've done one time and I'm like, all right, you guys should all do this. This is something that we've replicated over a number of companies across a number of different industries, not just software, but also healthcare, consulting, marketing agencies, and so on. So to get started, I want to go through what does the old way look like. The old way for growing a business would be to have a bunch of content on your website, but also gate anything of value that you might want to give to somebody visiting your site. So in order for them to get information from your site, you put a gated form there. You ask for their name, phone number, and email address. Once they give you that, then you give them whatever they're looking for. So things like ebooks or white papers or things like that might live on your website. And if they want to get those, they've got to give you something in order to receive that. The old way also included bloated sales teams with outbound SDRs, so sales development reps, somebody calling outbound, trying to get you to buy the thing that you're selling. So, best illustration of this is you sit down, you finally get to sit down after a long day, 6 o'clock, you're finally sitting down to dinner, and the phone rings, right? Nobody likes that. And in the old way, you had a high customer acquisition cost, low sales efficiency, and the only way to scale would be to add more people in order to grow the business. What we're going to talk about today now, though, is shifting from the old way, which was focused on lead generation, and shifting to the new way, which is demand generation. So rather than focusing on individual leads that are low intent and have very low interest in your business, how we massage the market and get them genuinely interested in the product or service that you sell. So, in order to do that, what we need to understand is that there are two segments of a market. Okay, first off, there's the market, the percentage of the market that is currently actively looking for the solution that you provide. That only accounts for about 1 to 5% of the market. So, think about any competitors that you might have. Think about your total addressable market. Take 1% of that total addressable market and understand that all of your competitors and yourself are all fighting for 1% of the market. Okay. So that begs the question, what do we do about the other 99% of the market that aren't actively in a buying mode? The first thing that we need to do to be able to go out and capture the 99% of the market is to really get solid on what is our ideal customer profile. This is an example of an exercise that we did for a company where we broke down the different segments of their customers. In this particular example, the segmentation was done by employee headcount. And as we broke that down, this is just kind of a subset of some of the data that we pulled on that. But for those segments, we look at what industries might they come from, what are the job titles that we should be looking at attracting, what are the technologies that they use, where do they go for information, and what do we have to prove to each of these individual segments. Everything starts right here. If you don't have a good handle on who your ideal customer profile is, you have the opportunity to waste a lot of money trying to pull in the right types of customers. I'm a big fan of revenue architecture. This is not a concept that I created, but something that I built on, and it has this concept of a bow tie. Okay, this revenue architecture takes your ideal customer profile and understands that today that 99% is unaware that you exist. Okay, and so what a lot of companies get wrong is that they focus on tracking the wrong metrics. They focus on how many marketing qualified leads am I getting? How many sales qualified leads am I getting? What's the end result? What's the total amount of revenue that I'm getting? And instead of taking those big chunks of metrics, what we want to do is break those down into smaller bite-sized pieces and understand that in order for somebody to become a one opportunity, they first have to be aware that we exist. Then they have to trust us. And there's a process that they go through to get to that end result. The other thing that a lot of companies get wrong is they're more focused on attributing opportunities or sales to a particular channel than focusing on all of the different channels that your business might come through. So for me, when I first went down this path and was trying to grow our revenue while reducing our sales team, we had a couple of different channels where customers would come to us through. The first was we had marketing inbound where people would find us through search engine optimization, Google Ads, etc. We also had partner referrals where we had brokers, we had people who were familiar with us who would refer us business. We had influencers on social media that would refer us business. And then finally, we also had channel partnerships that we were a technology platform, they were a technology platform, we integrated, and so we would refer business back and forth. Yes, thank you. And so what we want to make sure to do is that um, rather than being worried about the specific channels that these individuals are coming through, we want to be focused on how each of these channels can work together to help to drive more business through this architecture and through this bow tie. The other thing is that once the contract is signed, we want to pay attention to what happens after the contract signed. We want to pay attention to how we continue to grow and sell back into those accounts and those customers, how we sell more of our goods and services to them, but also how we take what we learn from those customers and apply it to acquiring more of the same types of customers. Everyone can think to their customers right now and probably clearly identify like who are our best ones and who are the ones where if we didn't work with them anymore, might not be the worst thing in the world. Okay, so the three pillars of focus when making this shift are we want to drive value. We want to give value. We don't want to be focused on obtaining value. We want to create a frictionless buying process, and we want to be focused on the company winning over who gets credit. The new way focuses on creating high intent leads, having leaner and more efficient teams, having lower customer acquisition costs, having high efficiency, and scaling through smarter investments along that revenue architecture rather than investing in growing through headcount. So here's the tactical part. The very first thing that we did in order to help accelerate our revenue growth was we didn't ask for any information on our website until you were ready to actually schedule a sales call. So if you wanted content, if you wanted an ebook, if you wanted something like that, you could go to our website and get that without having to exchange information. We also made our pricing very transparent and very simple. That grew to be one of our strong differentiators in the market where you knew exactly what to budget for, you knew exactly what it was gonna cost to work with us, and it was out there for the world to see. And then making sure that your website is structured so that people know exactly what you do and that it's well positioned. Again, we can send these slides out if you see Ryan at the back, but this is the exact process that we follow to help move somebody from that first unaware stage all the way through becoming a closed won deal. So these are the steps that we take to generate content, distribute content, and develop the trust along the way. Okay, so uh, might feel a little bit like I've thrown a lot at you in terms of like the revenue architecture, the principles of demand generation and that shift, and even that the process of moving somebody through that architecture. So you may feel like this little girl here drinking from a fire hose. And the reason for that is in order to execute something like this, there's a number of areas that we need to make sure that we built up in order to have a strong foundation to execute. Things like campaign strategy. Don't not focus so much on individual tactics, but you need an architect to think about how all of these things work together. You need somebody to develop content, social media. You need somebody that can manage your social media strategically, not just like posting cat videos, but somebody who's actually using it to connect with your audience. Email management, paid media, things like Google Ads, etc. Workflow management, understanding how all of those things are working in your CRM. List management, like building up your newsletter list and things like that, and reporting, knowing that what you're doing is actually paying off and that you're making progress. Okay. Now, the old way, and it looks like my slides are a little bit off here. The old way would be that you would need to hire all of these individuals, right? What do I tell you at the beginning? We want to scale without adding headcount. Um, so by doing by wanting to go the old way, you're hiring probably five, six, seven different headcount, which generally would cost in today's market about $38,000. Here's the shameless plug. Everything I've shown you today, you can absolutely do on your own. You can bring in your own internal people to do it. We just so happen at Edge and with Markitr to this is what we do. We've taken that playbook and we've replicated across all those companies, and we spread the cost across all these companies so that we can help more individuals and more founders be able to execute on this playbook. Generally, that $38,000 in headcount, we are able to offer the same services at about $14,000 a month. But for Founders 2.0, we're offering that at the conference only at $8,000 a month. That's a monthly retainer. There's no annual commitment or anything like that. In addition, again, my slides are all over the place, but you get the point. In addition to the Founders 2.0 model, bundle, we're also offering for people who sign up at the conference an ICP audit and what's called a jobs to be done analysis. Essentially, we take and we give you what your people are, what your customers are paying you for. We do an analysis to help understand what are the pains and things that they're trying to alleviate, and how effective is your product or service in accomplishing that thing. All right. So flew through that. Again, Ryan's at the back. If you would like to connect there, we also our website here is at marketwithedge.com, and this is the QR code. Would love to connect with you guys on LinkedIn. Just a few more minutes here. Open up to any questions that anybody might have. Yes. Yeah. Ooh, this one here. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Great. Again, thank you guys for your time. Hopefully, we've been able to get a few more people converted to moving from lead generation to true demand generation. Feel free to reach out via LinkedIn. We'd love to connect there. And if we can be of any help, we'd love to be a partner for you. So thank you again.